Good morning, dear children. I hope you all are fine and safe at home. Today we are going to start a new chapter that is In a Tunnel. In a Tunnel, which is written by Edith Nesbit. She was born in 1858 and died in 1924. Let us study about the author first of all. Edith Nesbit was an Indian author who wrote more than 60 books of fictions for children. More than 60 books she wrote, and almost all the books she wrote for children. Some of these books have been made into films. Some of these films were converted into films. Her books include The Story of the Treasure Seekers in 1898, The Would-Be Goods in 1899, Five Children and It in 1902, and perhaps the most well-known, The Railway Children in 1906. Dear children, her style of writing fantasy novels for children combined the ordinary everyday lives of people with a world of magic and adventure. She wrote the fantasy stories. Fantasy means full of imagination, imaginary stories. She wrote for children based on the daily lives. Clear? And these were full of magics and adventures for children. She had a great influence on future authors of children's literature. Dear children, this is the chapter In a Tunnel is a small extract, small portion taken from the famous novel The Railway Children, which was written in 1906. And before starting this chapter, we'll just know something about the railway children, about the story The Railway Children. Okay, The Railway Children is a story about a family that used to live a luxurious life in London with all the facilities. It was a small family, father, mother and their 3 children. They were leading very luxurious, very happy life with all the facilities in London. Due to some reason, the father was imprisoned. Imprisoned means he was put in the jail. And rest of the family, mother and 3 children, were forced to leave the city and shifted in the village. There they led a poor life. Their cottage was near a railway station. The small house was very close to railway station. So looking at trains all the time and waving their hands was their time pass. One day they were sitting beside the tunnel where they saw few boys going into the tunnel. There was a boy in red jersey who was the last one to enter into the tunnel. Then these 3 children, they went to the other side of the tunnel, at the other end of the tunnel, to see the boys coming out. They noticed that all the boys came out, but the last one who was wearing red jersey did not come out of the tunnel. So these children were very much curious to know about the last one, why he did not come out. All 3 decided to go into the tunnel and find out what had happened to that boy. This is when they entered the tunnel, and the author described their experience in the tunnel. I hope you all know what is a tunnel. And dear children, now we'll start the chapter. I hope the background of the story is clear to you. Okay, so it is a short chapter, very interesting, and pay attention and try to understand it. So dear children, please be ready with page number 96 of your book. Let us start the chapter. In this chapter, author is the narrator. This chapter is narrated by the author itself, and in the first paragraph, we can see the experience of people when they are in the train and passing through the tunnel. And in the second paragraph, we can see the experience of the children or anyone when they are walking on their feet in the tunnel, and the experience, both the experience are mentioned in the first two paragraphs. Let us start. Hold your pencils in your hand while understanding this chapter. Whatever the meanings of difficult words I tell you, you can write down in your notebook, in your textbooks. So, of course, you know what going into a tunnel is like. Everybody knows what kind of tunnel is. Here you can see in the picture, the hills are cut to make the way for the trains to pass, and the railway tracks are spread in the tunnel. Okay, so the engine gives a scream, and then suddenly the noise of running, rattling train changes and grows different and much louder. When the train passes through that tunnel, the sound of the train is completely changed. It grows louder, louder and louder. It increases all the time when it enters into the tunnel. Grown-up people pull up the windows and hold them by the strap. The grown-up people, those who are sitting in the train, they just pull up the window of the carriage and they hold them by the strap. Young people, they like to look out, but grown-up doesn't like that noise and the darkness of the tunnel, all these, so they just close the window. The railway carriage suddenly grows like night with lamps, of course, unless you are in a slow local train, in which case lamps are not always provided. When train passes through the tunnel, it is completely dark inside the tunnel, and it seems that it's a night time. If there are lamps in the train, it's okay. Mostly these lamps are not available in the local trains. Then by and by, the darkness outside the carriage window is touched by puffs of cloudy whiteness. Then you see a blue light on the walls of the tunnel, and the sound of the moving train changes once more, and you are out in the good open air again, and grown-ups let the straps go. Okay, when train passes through the tunnel and it is about to come out of the tunnel, it is at the other end of the tunnel, again there is the darkness turns into the whiteness, into the brightness of the sun, and you can see again the sound of the moving train changes. Inside the tunnel, it gives echoing sound, the rattling sound, the sound of the train grows much louder. But when it is about to come out of the tunnel, again its sound is getting changed. And then you can see that you are out in an open air. The darkness turned into the whiteness or brightness of the sun. And the grown-up peoples, when they are out of the tunnel, again they leave the straps and keep the windows opened. The windows, all dim with the yellow breath of the tunnel, rattle down into the places, and you see once more the dip and catch of the telegraph wires beside the line, and the straight cut hawthorn hedges with the tiny baby trees grows about of them every 30 yards. And then the author says that the windows are rattling, moving up and down at their places, rattle down into their places. They make the noise, they just rattle up and down, and you can see once more the dip and catch of telegraph wires. Dip and catch of the telegraph wires means beside the line you can see the wires. Children, you might have noticed when you are in the train or in the bus, beside the train or the railway track or the road, you can see the wires, telegraph wires, isn't it? Suppose these are 3, 4 wires. Let's see that they are moving up and down. Okay, it seems that they are moving up and down again. These 4 wires comes down, and it seems that it has become 1, and again they go down. Okay, fall and rise of the wire. It is said for this dip and catch. Dip and catch means the fall and rise of the wires. And the straight cut hawthorn hedges with the tiny baby trees grows about of them every 30 yards. Hedges means the plants planted in a form of boundary or something. And these hedges are trimmed properly beside the railway track. All this, of course, is what a tunnel means when you are in a train. This is the experience of a person when he or she is sitting in a train and passing through the tunnel. Clear? But everything is quite different when you walk into a tunnel on your own feet. When you walk on your own feet, the experience is completely opposite. And tread on shifting, sliding stones and gravels on a path that curves downwards from the shining metals to the wall. When you are in the train, you are walking on your feet and passing through the tunnel, the experience is quite different, and you just sliding stones or gravels or pebbles on the path that curves downwards from the shining metal. Shining metal is said for the metal with which the railway track is made. It is iron metal. Clear? And then both the sides you can see the stones or pebbles. Stones you can see, the round stones. They are kept in a curved way. Okay, and then they touch the walls of the tunnel. Here wall is meant for the wall of a tunnel. And the author says the experience of a person is completely different when one walks on its own feet inside the tunnel. Then you see slimy, oozy trickles of water running down the inside of the tunnel, and you notice that the bricks are not red or brown as they are at the tunnel's mouth, but dull, sticky, sickly green. And then author says that you can see the slimy, oozy trickles of water, very smooth, and flow of the water in the form of drops. Clear? and you can see where it is due, it is because of the moisture on the walls. When you walk inside, you can see the moisture, the drops of water inside the tunnel, and due to this moisture, you can see the color of the bricks are not red or brown. They are turned into a greenish color due to the green vegetation. We know that where there is the place which is full of moisture all the time, we can see some green vegetation, isn't it? Here also, because of this moisture, the color of the bricks are not red or brown, they are turned into sickly green color. Okay? Your voice when you speak is quite changed from what it was outside in the sunshine, and it is a long time before the tunnel is quite dark. Okay, when you are outside the tunnel, you are standing in an open air and you speak, your sound is completely different. When you are inside a tunnel, your sound changes. It gives echoing sound. You might have experienced the same thing if you are in an empty room. Nothing is kept in that room and you speak. It gives echoing sound. Clear? The same way when you are inside the tunnel, your voice is also changed. So, in these two paragraphs, the experience of the person when one is inside the train and passing through the tunnel, and when one is walking on its speed and passing through the tunnel, both the experiences are mentioned in the first two paragraphs. I hope this is clear to you. Dear children, your homework is to read both the paragraphs 3 times, 4 times, 5 times and try to understand. Thank you.